Howard, talk about the remigration. That's an interesting concept that people have missed. In about 3 minutes, lay that out for us, would you?
Okay, the Great Remigration, before 1960, 7 million African Americans left the South to go north. In the last decade, 75% of the growth in the African American community has occurred in the South. Atlanta is a good example. In the last decade, Atlanta added 410,000 increase in the African Americans, so that today in Georgia, only 52% of the population under the age of 18 are white. That's very scary for the Republican Party.
Well, their adjustment, obviously, we've talked about so many times, has been gerrymandering, and Howard Dean, when he was screaming to take control of the states again, nobody listened to him. But this is kind of, by 2020, I don't know, not really sure how. You'd almost have to entirely change the face of the Republican Party to do anything about this, wouldn't you? What kind of steps are they taking to kind of ward off the inevitable?
Well, in 2010, they were very fortunate because they were on the precipice. But they managed to get a very big win in 2010, which was so important because that allowed them to redistrict the legislatures in the South. And the gerrymandering was just unbelievable. So the advantage they have now is they've gerrymandered districts all over the South. They participated, as we've seen, very heavily in voter suppression because they have to keep these young voters away from the polls. And they are also engaged in attacking the unions. They got control of the secretaries of state positions in most states, and they were able to manipulate elections. And the big thing now that is pending is what the Supreme Court of the United States is going to do with the Voting Rights Act. If the Supreme Court overrules the Voting Rights Act now as applied to the South, they're going to have a field day with their voter suppression.